Now I'm actually going to create a profile page for the user. So, I tried to test it out with some couple of things. So first of all, I basically created use selector here. I imported it from React Redux, and then after that I had to initialize it, current user, use selector, state.user. I was trying to test it out, and I came to aware something over here. So if you look at the console, inspect, and if I go to the console window, you could see right now I'm actually repeating and finding my profile picture, but I was having a hard time locating it because whenever I was let's suppose refreshing it and clearing this console. Now if I click on refresh, now you can see I'm getting this kind of warning from some kind of other file, but this is ones we're going to ignore. The thing is, when I use selector state and then state.user, I was not getting the right thing. Let me demonstrate it by just typing it out. So I'll say console.log, and then I'll say current user. Okay, so suppose this is my thing. Now if I try to see this, you could see inside of this current user, I'm basically getting a list of current user and then error and then loading. So what I essentially had to do here is get use selector, or I'm assuming I am not doing this properly. So let's see how if I go to the nav bar from my other let's suppose components, so components nav bar. So over here, if we go to the nav bar header, okay, let me just open it up here. Okay, so over here you can see, yeah, I'm using it this way. So current user, and then inside here we have state in round brackets, and then we have state.user. State again, we have to, let me try to use this one. Paste. Okay, so what happened here? Oh no, not here. Now it's completely getting an issue. Now it's saying, now it says cannot read properties of undefined profile picture. Okay, so yeah, I think we're good to go now. Now it's saying email. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to remove that. Awesome, we're good to go now. So basically what I have to do, this is very important, you have to put in the round brackets and then the state.user, then you could basically see it. Because now if I console.log, you could see now I could get my actual state property, and I could now use this over here. Now you can see I tested it out with my email and my profile picture. What we want to do is not like this, so I would recommend deleting this line, save it. Of course I didn't delete that part. Now I'm actually not using my current keyboard, I'm using some other keyboard. So over here what we're going to do is profile, and then we have this image tag. What we want to do is we want to put a form tag here, form tag. Okay, sorry about that. Let's fix this up. So we're going to have a form tag here like this, and then we have to close it. So form like that. Okay, I don't know why it just created two, but yeah. Over here, what we're going to do is we're going to put this stuff in here. So whatever you saw, right? You can basically put it in here. So within the form, okay. So in here we have the image, okay, profile and image. You want to basically center it out. For the h1 tag, you could basically have a class name, and you could make this centered by saying text hyphen center. That's centered. Now this image has to be centered as well. So you can have the image styled as well. So what you could say is after the alternative, have a class name. Okay, and then I could say, first of all, I'm gonna just make it rounded full hyphen. So this is like a rounded shape. Of course, my image is not rounded, so it's not gonna show it over here. But if other other images, it will maintain something. So over here, what we want to actually do, one other thing is that we want to make sure that there's actually a div that's wrapping around this image tag. Okay. So I'm gonna have a div here. So div, and this is going to be in here. And this class name, so for this div, we could have the class name set to you can have a class name set to a width of 32 and a height of 32. Okay, now I'm saying self-center here. It's gonna allow us to make this image centered. So when I do this, I could now say to this image, we could say width of full, okay, height of full. Okay, now you can see it's a little larger. Now, because I placed it in a div, now I said, you know, I have to make sure that the div covers the entire thing, and this is going to cover the div. So the div, I mean, the image has to cover the entire div. And then inside of this, what you would say is border. Just add in a nice border. I would say border 8. Nice border, right? So we want to make this a little thinner. So to make this, you could just say border hyphen, then we have over here light gray, like, okay, light gray, like GHT, border hyphen light gray. Okay, yeah, and now what we have here is object cover. This is going to maintain the aspect ratio. So whenever I like update some kind of image, like not a circular one, it's going to maintain this using object cover to maintain the aspect ratio. Now, you know, we have this, and we can basically contain another div in here that's outside of this form. Okay, and this closing, you know, you already know it's closed right after here. Okay, so this div, which is outside, has a class name, and it could say flex. Okay, wait a minute, what happened here? So save. Okay, flex. Now, if I say flex call, it would be in, you know, the column ways, and now we have to make this image go there too. So, you know, div percent. So class name for the form, and we could call this as actually what I have to do over here, flex for the form, not for this div, but actually for this form. Since this form has this heading and it also has this image, right, div, so I'm saying flex to the form, so display flex, and if I say flex call, it's going to be on top of each other. So now this is exactly what I want, like that. That is what we needed. Okay, so now you know, profile picture, you could just put text -3XL to make it a little darker, 3XL, little bolder, right? And you could, you know, have like a gap in here. Sorry, these are all Tailwind classes, to be honest. Gap -2. It's just a little gap. Yeah, so, you know, we could fix this up with the other things, but right now I think it's okay. Over here, what we could do is for this particular thing, we could say max -width of LG. Okay, and then we want MX auto just to make it centered. This is now going to be completely centered. Right now, you can see it has to be centered. So if I go here on a desktop device, it's centered. So MX auto, and then we need width of -full. If I do this, should make it centered. So okay, div and then a class name. Okay, so right after this, we'll fix this up, don't worry. So right after this div, we could have the input fields. So text input, right, this input field, and this is coming from Flowbyte. You could basically close it like this, or you could self-close it. I'll recommend self-closing it like this. Okay, now in here what you want to do is you want to say type, which is text. Okay, then we want type, and then we want the ID, and this would be what is it called? This is going to be called the username. So basically we want username, email, and then password. So username, and then we have we want placeholder. Okay, so we have placeholder, and then we could just say that as username, and then we have so value, I mean default value, so default value, and for that default value you could essentially put in you know, your default value, what you have. So basically it's going to be current user dot username, like that. It's going to contain Coding Cleverly's username, like that. Perfect. Same thing goes for the other things. So let me just copy this. Let me copy this text input. Okay, and I just make it Alt Shift and down 2 times. Okay, I think I randomly did something that I didn't need to do. This Alt Shift and down, down. Okay, okay. So over here we want to change this to email. Placeholder could change to email, and that could be current user email. This should change to email. Okay. This ID should change to password. Oh. So we were working on this profile page, and you could see this is how it looks like so far. I mean, it doesn't look good with the you know, main screen, but in the mobile screen it's centered out really nicely. So let's just fix this up, and then after that you're gonna work around with the desktop view as well. So let me just minimize this. What I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna first of all put like a padding or something. So here we have, you know, these things. There's no email. There should be default value current dot email. Oh, I don't know why it didn't come current user dot email. Let's refresh this. Oh, okay, now the email came, and the thing over here, instead of password, you can't even get it. You could just have a default value, or you know, you basically could just have, you know, a placeholder, not even a default value. So just a default value, and say change your password, like that. Okay, so I'm saving it, should refresh it, and it allows you to change your password. Good. Let's have a padding here. So in the form, you see this form tag right here. This is where these things are going. So you could actually put this as a div in here in within these input fields. So what you could do, put in a div right in here, and I would recommend putting all these things inside. Okay, put it in here. That's good. So in here what we could say is class name, and we could just say flex. Okay, if I save this, you see this comes, then we say flex call for small devices, and then what we do is padding 2 or 3. Okay, that's not good. Gap 2. Okay, so over here it's better. So that's what I was saying, gap 3 for each element inside of it. So gap 3, I think that's better. So that's good. let's put a gap, a margin top of 2 as well, just to have it a little spaced out. Right after this, you would have a button. So you could just put a button tag. Okay, this is from Flowbyte, and then this could be type submit. Okay, and then we have some kind of text in here, so we could just say edit profile, because this is going to be for editing in profile. And then we have, after this form tag, we basically would have a div. Okay, and then in here we have span tag, and it would be say edit, and then the other one would be delete. So basically over here would have delete. Okay, I don't know why I randomly added this. Okay, so we have edit and delete. You could put a div, class name, put a text, so text hyphen red 500. Good. And you want to put a space, so just say flex. Okay, justify between, so justify between, it's going to be spaced separately. I mean, it's going to be like that, and then just a margin top a little, so margin top of 3. Okay, I believe it looks good. Instead of edit profile, just say submit, something like that. I think this looks good so far, and I'm gonna continue with this design so that it actually looks good with the larger size. But yeah, for the mobile size, it looks good. It looks good like that. It's a little dark, but if I change it to light mode, 1 minute. So let me just change the theme to light mode. Kind of looks good, I believe. So we're just gonna change it back to dark mode. You could also put that theme toggle on small devices as well.